So I thought of a funny story that I don't think I made a video of it. Maybe I did, but if I did, it was a long time ago. It's worth making again, though. Back in the late 90s, late 90s? Early 2000s, basically early 2000s. I was just getting started off in sushi, and I was still pretty new. Good enough to be back there, but they basically make you a roll guy. Anyway, it's like the roll guy, right? They don't let you actually cut fish. They make you like make a billion California rolls and shit like that. Anyway, I was basically that guy, and there's a Japanese name for it that translates to sushi bitch, but I don't remember what the name is. And if anybody called me that again, I'd punch him. But I earned that. But anyway, yeah. So I was working at this place called RA, in Tempe, Arizona, as a sushi bar, and it's pretty big. I think Benihana bought them out. They're up here in California. I think they're up in the Northwest too. Anyway, moot point because I think they're done. I think they got bought out. But anyway, I was working at this place called Raw, hip sushi bar. They played like techno at night. Stayed open until like 3 a.m. Stupid, right across the street from ASU. And I worked for this guy. He's a young guy. At the time, I was probably about 20, maybe, yeah, about there. And so he was like, he was probably 30. And he was straight off the boat from Japan, like Japanese chef. But he was like kind of Americanized, but you could tell he was from Japan. And Japanese people kind of have, are kind of racist, to tell you the truth. I'm not saying all Japanese people are racist, but I've met a lot of Japanese people that are racist. They just don't like white people, and especially when you go into like the sushi business, right? Because they have a feeling that, white people are kind of decimating their culture, we're ruining their traditional cuisine, stuff like that. And to some degree I get it, but you know what, motherfucker, this is California. We're making fucking California rolls because that's what pays the fucking bills. You know what I'm saying? So that's just, hey, I'm there to do a job, right? So he already had a chip on his shoulder about having to work with a bunch of white chefs. Not a bunch, but there's a few of us, right? There's not a lot of Asian people in Phoenix, so you get a lot of Mexican chefs and a lot of white chefs. So his name was Andy Suzuki, and he was a head chef. And he was giving me a hard time, and it was fucking busy. It was just a really busy sushi bar. And I was new, and so I was having a hard time keeping up. I was falling behind, shit happens, right? And anyway, he's got frustrated, he started yelling at me and shit, which made me even more nervous, right? Because, and then him and I got into an argument about something. Not really an argument, but he was like yelling at me, and I kind of like snapped back at him, and, and anyway, he lost his cool, and there was like people at the sushi bar. There's a small sushi bar, they're connected, like stations were connected, right? Basically would sit like 3 people, and there were a bunch of them. But yeah, so I had my own kind of where I was doing rolls. There's nobody there. They were next to him, but he was next to me watching me. Anyway, I lost my cool. He basically said, he lost his cool. He basically said to me in no unclear manner in front of customers and another employee, he said I'd never be a good sushi chef because I'm white and I'm left-handed, right? Now, that really pissed me off, right? Because I was already fucking stressed, and, I was already about to walk out because I was, like, so fucking busy, and I was just, like, about to lose it. And then when he said that, I just lost it. I was like, fuck this place, and I told him to fuck off, and I grabbed the bottom of the sushi bar underneath the cutting board, and I flipped that motherfucker right up. I mean, it's heavy. We're talking, it probably weighs 300-400 pounds, but it's already on wheels, so it's not like I picked it up with my hand, like, raw. No. I just, like, picked it up and, raw, and, like, flipped it over on its side, right? But there's a case full of ice and fish and shit, right? Thing made a bunch of noise. The glass broke out of it and shit. Like fucking people's like, what the fuck? I just fucking and just walked out, right? I was like, holy shit, did I just do that? Because I usually don't lose my cool like that, but I did. That was like probably the first time I really like fucked shit up at work like that on purpose. And so fucking I get back home. I didn't have a car at the time. I took the bus. It took me like an hour to get back home. Living on the side of town. Get back home, 5-0's waiting for me. And I was like, oh, and they saw me. Like, I couldn't even, like, turn around. Like, I rolled around the corner, and then bam, they're right there. I was like, ah. So, yeah, I got arrested. I got arrested. Two charges. One was, like, criminal damage, and there was another charge, too. I forgot what it was. Like, whatever. So, anyway, so I get out of jail. My friend bails me out. I would have been let go eventually, but, got me out the next day. And, bam. And so, get out. I had some time to think about this, So I get out, I called the Raw, and I asked for the GM. They already, obviously they remember what happened, right? It was a big fucking deal, right? And basically talked to him, and I said, I want to speak to the owner. He was like, no. It's like, okay, well, translate a message for me. I said, why don't you tell him to drop the charges, and we'll just fucking walk each other, walk different ways, and you'll never see me again. He's like, really? You think he's just gonna let you go? You owe us like fucking $5,000 for that case. I was like, really? Well, I bet you I could sue you for discrimination. He's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, Andy Suzuki, he told me, I'm like, why don't you watch the tapes? Why don't you ask the two customers that were sitting there looking at me why he said it? I'm like, yeah. And I didn't know them, but I lied. I'm like, yeah, one of them I know where he works. We talked about it. I can go get him as a witness. That was bullshit, but he's like, well, what do you say? He's like, yeah, he said I'd never be a good chef because I was white and left-handed. And he's like, well, I said, check the videotapes and I'll go get the guy and then we'll meet up and I'll talk. He goes, I'll call you back. And then he called me. He didn't actually call me back. A lawyer called me back, their lawyer. And he goes, I think if you want to come in and sign this piece of paper, I think we just like let all this shit go. Like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. He's like, yeah. So you know what? He's like, you're going to sign this piece of paper and you're going to promise not to file suit against us and we're going to promise not to press charges. It's like, okay, yeah, that's fair. And you know what? I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have just pursued it because they would have charged me the $5,000 to the table and probably would have, got whatever misdemeanor. I probably could have turned around and sued them for like $50,000. But the thing is I really didn't have that proof. I didn't know if the video, the cameras would pick up audio. A lot of places, most places don't. It's more expensive, and even if they do, if they could hear it because it was loud in there. So I was kind of betting on it'd be like his word against mine, and so I'm like, fuck this, right? I just wanted to get out of it. So yep, went in there, signed papers, boop, 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 charges. They never pressed charges, and that was it. And so that was the beginning of my sushi career. But yeah, the whole white thing is just because Japanese people, especially Japanese chefs, Asian chefs in sushi, they just basically feel that we shouldn't be there. And I agree with them. Kind of. I mean, to a certain extent, although I'm better than a lot of Japanese chefs at this point. But that's, 15 years later. But, so, I mean, I kind of get it. But on the left-handed part is just a superstitious part. Left-handed people to them, not just them, but other cultures too, but Japanese specifically, are kind of somewhere in between, like, between criminal and retarded. It's like somewhere right in there. Like, you're like, I'm like a retarded criminal. So it's like a deficiency or like whatever, so it's like but yeah. And here's the best part of the story though. Okay, so about 4 years ago, a new sushi place opened up here in Hillcrest in San Diego, a place called H2O. It's no longer there. Well, I was excited because I live right there, and at the time I had a job but I was underemployed. Walk into the Sushi Boy, really nice place too. They only last for like 2 years, but anyway, I walk in there and looking around and pick up a resume and look around, and then the manager gives me not the resume, the application, and I look around and then I see a dude and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that guy. Holy shit. And the head chef at this new restaurant was the same guy, Andy Suzuki, that I flipped the fucking table over when he was my boss back, fucking at that point it was almost 20 years ago. So I'm just like, no fucking way. Small world, right? I mean, this Phoenix, Arizona to San Diego, yeah, it's only 6-7 hours away, but now, I mean, he's an older dude now, right? So now he's probably in his 50s, right? Yeah, he's got gray hair and he's kind of chubby, but distinctively he was him, and I walked over just to get a better look, and sure shit, it was him. And I didn't say anything to him. I just looked around. So decided already, like, I'm not going to work there. It's not going to work. As soon as he realizes who I am, if he does, I don't even know if he's going to remember. So, but I decided to go and just drop off the resume anyway. So I drop off the resume, and they want me to audition. That's what they do. If they consider hiring you, then they'll have you audition to make sure you can do what you say you can. And I can. I always pass my auditions. And so went back there, and he's there, right? He's the head chef. He's the guy that ultimately says it. So he's like, okay, make this and make this. And he's really fucking polite. He's like super polite. It's like his age just took the steam out of him. Probably working with enough white people for almost 20 years now since that incident, and now that he's probably older, he probably realizes that, whatever. Who knows, right? Whatever the reason is, he's not a dick. He's cool. He's just like, okay, cool. He's like, he critiques me a little bit, but that's to be expected, right? I mean, otherwise, if he doesn't critique me, then that means I'm almost as good as him. It's just, it's a dominance thing, and that's cool. So it's like, yeah, tuck your corners a little better. It's, so yeah, but you're pretty good, man. So, yeah. So let's go sit down and talk about pay. Like, all right. Well, as we sat down, and sat down next to the manager guy while sitting at the table, I looked at him. I was like, "You're Andy, right?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, Suzuki? Yeah. Like, from Raw in Tempe. He's like, "Yeah, from Raw." And shit, hold on my computer. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm that guy that worked, the new employee that flipped over the sushi bar back at Raw in Tempe, man, like almost 20 years ago. And he's like, he didn't know what to say. I don't know if he was trying to remember, or if he was just like waiting for me to do something, like maybe punch him, or I wasn't mad about it anymore. I mean, that was a long time ago, you know. But he's like, "Oh, I don't know about you. You have bad temper." And I was like, "You know what, man?" I'm like, "I don't want your job, bro. I don't want your job. You said I'd never be a good chef because I'm white and left-handed. Here you are trying to give me a fucking job, okay?" So I'm like, "Fuck you, goodbye." And I just walked away. That was it. He didn't say anything to me. I mean, it was fulfilling for me to be able to do that, you know, to have somebody say, "You're never gonna fucking do it, never gonna do it," and then you see them later on in life. It's like, I did it. Here we go again. You know, I mean, that happens, you know, on other things, but you know, that was one thing that story that was fucking funny. That's it. I'm going to bed. It's fucking 4:30. Bye. What?